Hi, everyone, and welcome to Make It Happen Monday. This is Kimberly Beer here. And today I want to talk to you about metrics, especially concerned with your email marketing. It seems like lately I've had a lot of questions from my clients and also from folks that come to my classes about what is good metrics when it comes to your email marketing. In other words, am I doing well or am I doing poorly? And they look at the reports that Constant Contact provides them, which tells them what people have clicked on, what people have opened, what emails are bouncing, opt-outs, and all of these wonderful metrics that help them be able to make better marketing decisions, help you be able to make better marketing decisions if you're using email marketing. The problem is that a lot of times we look at email marketing as something similar to what we do with our personal emails. In other words, when we send someone an email, we expect the person on the other end of the email to open that email. Marketing email does not work quite that way. You don't receive it in quite the way as the subscriber or the recipient, and so you don't open it in the same manner as you would a personal communication. The more personal or the more appropriate, the more relevant your marketing communications are, however, the more they're apt to be opened, just like your personal communications are. So when it comes to marketing email, we can't judge it against what would happen if we personally sent an individual an email. We have to look at it in comparison with other marketing metrics. And the great thing about email is it does give us so many metrics to look at, so many things that we can measure our success against. So let's talk about a few of those things and some of the things that you can do. And I teach a more in-depth class on this, but I think if we just look at it at kind of the top level and give you an idea of if you do go look in your Constant Contact metrics, that you can look and judge how you're doing against your past and also against your industry, so you're able to make some good marketing decisions. And I'll help you make a few of those today as we go along. So you need to first of all know which of the metrics matter. And they all matter in a way, but we need to look at them realistically and know what exactly they are measuring. And then we need to use that data to make decisions. And we need to understand that marketing is about creating an action in our subscribers, creating an action in our customers. And so in the case of email, the metric that really matters to me the most is what people are clicking on, because when they click on something, I consider that a conversion. That's like a sale. That's someone picking something up and taking a very close look at it and then using the information that they get to make a decision on whether they're going to purchase or not. So click-through is a very important number. But let's break some of these things down and look at the realistic percentage points. So opens. When someone opens your email, and the way that Constant Contact judges this, by the way, is when someone downloads an image pixel. So it'll tell the Constant Contact that particular email address downloaded that pixel, and so that counts as an open. So it's a really good way to gauge interest, especially on your subject line, to know that you're delivering your emails at the appropriate time for your subscribers to interact with them, that your subject line is getting through, that they're recognizing who you are, and that they have an interest in your specific email. Now, it would make sense somehow if your open rate was 80%. 80% is not usually a realistic open rate for marketing emails. Most industries average between 8 and 28%. In the case that we're looking at on the screen, the open rate is 30% compared to 48% for this particular individual's account. When you have really high open rates, you're either doing something super good with your marketing emails or you're sending to a small list that's really engaged. So for example, when I send an email out to all of the subscribers on my list, I can expect somewhere around a 20% open rate. If I send a class listing or something like that, that typically is what I'll get. However, if I send up a follow-up email from a webinar that I gave that has the presentation or special offers or something that I've talked about during the webinar, then my open rate skyrockets because it's very, very pertinent and very relevant. So the relevancy factor makes a lot of difference in what people are going to open, and just the timing, it makes a huge difference. Again, sending something out as a follow-up to a webinar that people have attended tends to get a really high open rate, whereas just my average email communications are going to rank somewhere in that 8 to 28%, with mine and personally hovering around 20%. And I see a lot of my clients' emails also hover around that 20 to 25% range as far as just an average email, regular email that I'm sending out. Click-throughs, again, are one of the most important figures that you can look at, and not just the percentage, but which of your links are getting clicked on inside your email. Now, when it comes to design, and this is something that you can attend one of my classes on designing better emails, but when it comes to design, less is truly more. So one click, one link in an email will get dramatically more click-throughs. The more links you add, the more you spread those clicks out. So you need to be very conscientious of not adding a whole ton of clicks inside every email that you send. 3 would be the maximum that I would like to use. Now, I may put those 3 links in several different formats inside an email, but every link is basically a call to action. And every time you add a call to action, you reduce the effectiveness of the other calls to action proportionately across your email. So keep this to as few links as you possibly can. When you have click-throughs, again, that's a conversion. That's a customer raising their hand and saying, this really matters to me. So you really need to focus on this as a measurement of the success in your marketing. If you're comparing email click-through rates are somewhere between 5 and 18%, depending upon the industry and what you're communicating. Again, I just want to point out that it's relevancy in multiple factors. If people attend a webinar that I have taught and I'm sending a PowerPoint that they can download, I expect a greater click-through rate than if I would send out like just my average email with click-throughs to register for a class. I'm sending to fewer people with the webinar follow-up. It's something that I've talked about. It's something that is very relevant to them at that moment in time. So the click-through rate is going to be much higher. So do look in comparison with your industry average, and do look in comparison with what you have received in the past for that specific type of email communication. The did not opens give you an opportunity to re-engage your audience. And if you want to, you can always go back and resend to this group and say, hey, if I change just something, would you be interested? Typically with did not opens, if you have a super important email that you want to get out, that seems to go out as like a regular communication or to an audience that's not really highly engaged with you at the moment, if you resend this, a lot of times if you change the subject line, or if you change the time that you sent, or if you change the from area, not so much the content, because did not open didn't even see the content. So you can change something here that will allow you to be able to get a little bit more recognition from those people who may not have opened it the last time. Maybe you just didn't hit on the nerve that it needed to get them to click. In this area, your industry averages range between 72 and 92. So it's the exact opposite of the opened, obviously. So did not opens is a very important metric to look at, and think of those people as new opportunities for you to reach back out and see if you can communicate with them in a better manner. Opt-outs are people who say, hey, this is just not for me. And on average, for most of the lists of the audiences that I work with, so I'm working with small businesses, single owner businesses, their lists range anywhere from 100 people to 8,000 to 9,000. you're going to look for a rate here of less than 1%. And you really want to keep your opt-outs low, obviously. However, with that said, a lot of time opt-outs are just simply people who wouldn't have made a good fit for your business as it is. And I try to take, and I say I try because I don't always succeed, I try to take a bless and release attitude with the opt-outs. It's just that that's not the perfect relationship. And basically it's opening up an avenue for me where I can form the perfect relationship with the perfect client. Chances are if I worked with clients that are opting out from my email list, they really don't want to subscribe to my philosophy anyway. And chances are, even if we were worked together, it wouldn't be the best relationship. So it really is, opt-outs are really a good thing as long as your percentages are not super high here. If they are really high, then you need to go back and look. Is what I'm sending out relevant? Am I sending out too much email? Am I not sending out enough? Opt-outs can happen equally on both of those factors, by the way. If you don't send often enough, people forget who you are or that they subscribe to your email. So it may be an issue of not sending out frequency as well as sending out too much email. So take a look. What have you changed? What have you done differently if this percentage radically changes from what it's been in the past for you? Bounces are bad addresses, emails that are no longer deliverable or that have had a serious number of problems in getting deliverability rates. And they can really affect your list. And so Constant Contact has your back here. So they're going to tell you what those bounced email addresses are. And just for a good, healthy list, you need to clean those out pretty regularly. And again, this is a point of sometimes it's just a miscommunication. You need to look and see if something was misspelled or if that person has moved to a different organization or changed their email address. Rates here go between 2 and 14%. So if you are looking to make decisions on how to take low metrics and make them increase, then look at this as a concept. So low opens, make sure you have a recognizable from name, make sure your subject name is really interesting, and make sure you send emails at a time when your subscription list is going to be interested in it. Low opens means that somebody didn't open it. They just simply deleted that email and didn't even interact with it. So they never got to see the content. If you have a low click-through rate, on the other hand, that means they did get to see the content. So the decision-making process is a little bit different. Have a strong call to action. Make sure that you don't put too many links in there. Make sure your email is not so long that it's confusing for people to find what they want to interact with. And try to send emails to a segmented group. That makes it a little bit more likely to get clicked on. Just like I said, I would segment out people who attended a webinar that I would send an email back out to, and that would give me an opportunity to get higher clicks. When you are getting high metrics, then you need to take a look at making those even better. So for example, if you get high opens, this gives you an indication of what's the best time of day to send, what are the best keywords, and what ones of your followers, fans, and subscribers are the most likely to shout your name from the rooftops. So if you have high opens and low click-through rates, then you really need to look at you're doing something right with the subject lines and the from and the information in what you're sending out, but people aren't interacting with it. So you need to look at some of the things on the previous slide. If you're getting a high click-through rate, so the people that are opening the email are really clicking on it, but maybe it is a low open rate, then you need to go back and adjust some things there. If you're getting a high click-through rate, really take note. What are you doing? You've formatted your links to stand out. How did that work? How did you structure your call to action? Definitely offer links to preferred content, and again, segment those super clickers, those people who are really actively promoting your business or actively involved with you. Those folks, if you do some things to help them, they will become your best source of new business. So I hope this has helped shed some light a little bit on on what those metrics should look like, don't expect really high numbers in a lot of these areas. Your open rate, if you're getting 20 to 25%, you're doing it right. It's not that you're doing something wrong. It just simply is a different measurement than if you sent a personal one-on-one email. Marketing email is different than regular email. That's why you have services like Constant Contact to help you have professional strength email. That's what's required to really utilize this as a system for marketing and customer relationships and relationship building over time. All right, go out there this week, take a look at what the metrics that you've been getting on your emails. If you're not happy with them, try a few of the suggestions that I've given you today. If you are happy, please don't slow down. Keep sending those emails out on a regular basis. Have a great week, and I'll see you next Monday.